Hi, my name is Doug Backinger, and I'm here to answer your questions. Another commonly asked question we get is, why do casters vary so much in cost? And really, there's a few main driving factors for costs, and especially if you're going to customize a caster for an application, there's a few items that you want to keep in mind and try to stay as close to, we'll say, standard as possible. So every caster manufacturer has a standard line of swivel section designs, swivel bearing designs that allow swivel casters to rotate. So if you have to customize that, that can be a very expensive modification to make to a caster. For the most part, these swivel section designs have been around for years, if not decades. You know, they've had a lot of strenuous testing done. The engineers know their limits. And for the most part, if you can stay within a standard swivel section design, that will help control the cost of your caster. The next component to consider is your wheel design. So again, caster companies tend to have standard castings made for common wheel sizes. So castings, essentially, for the most part, are made out of like gray iron. You have a pattern, you pour liquid metal into the pattern, and you get a near net casting. So if you can keep your design within a standard casting that the caster company has, that's another way to modify costs or control costs. If you have to go to, say, like a billet of steel or a chunk of steel, you will dramatically increase the cost of your caster versus using a standard casting. The next thing is urethane. So higher load carrying urethanes tend to be more expensive. So you have basic, like your standard, say 85A or 95A durometer urethanes that are used kind of in general applications around factories. Those tend to be pretty, cost effective. But as soon as you have to start carrying very heavy loads under high speeds, that's where you get into specialty materials that then cost 4, 5, 6 times as much as like a standard urethane. Next would be wheel bearings. So again, there are commonly used bearings in the caster industry and also just with bearing manufacturers in general. If you can stay with one of those that they have in stock, chances are that you'll have a pretty standard price for that bearing. Once you start getting into customized bearings or non-stock bearings, you can change not only the cost but also the lead time by a significant amount. And then the last thing to consider would be different options. So you can add brakes, locks, toe guards, floor wipers. So every option you add there can also change the cost of your caster. And depending on how custom the caster is, it also then changes the cost of those add-ons as well. So those are the main items to consider. So you have your swivel section designs, your wheel casting design, urethane type bearings, and then options. So for those, even out of the standards, there's some customization that can be done, but for the most part, if you can stay within currently available items, you're more likely to control the cost of your caster. Thank you for watching, and hopefully that answered your question.